how do you handle the social media aspect? Because I'm more entrepreneurial, right? And if I was more entrepreneurial inside of sports, like I wasn't really totally hyper focused on baseball, which I was, but if I had like this inkling of developing like a business outside of my athletic career, how do you handle that from a social media standpoint? Because like these kids are building brands, and like if I'm an influencer, I can make some pretty good dough right off the bat.
Yep.
I can either go sponsorship, or I could sell baseball cards. I could sell shoes. If I'm good at graphic design, I could sell something that deals with graphic design.
Mm-hmm.
How do you approach that?
I think the last time I checked, Trevor Lawrence had like 600,000 followers or more as an athlete. So this is a huge, huge topic of discussion right now. And it has been for several years.
And it could be attractive for a university to bring that person in too.
Yeah. So I'll start with the way it is now, the rules now around that. When these will change, I have no idea. But right now, you can have whatever business you want as a student athlete if it does not involve you using your name, image, or likeness or status as a college athlete. So
basically, you're not allowed.
Basically, you can't do it.
Yeah. So
we'll say that you can, but technically,
yes. So
sorry.
Social media, why do you have those followers? Because your name's on it. They know that you are the starting quarterback at Clemson, and that's why they follow you. That's why you have your status. And if Trevor Lawrence wanted to get on there and post an ad with, I don't know, like Gatorade. He's holding a Gatorade bottle. Says, I drink Gatorade before every game. Can't do it.
Well, even subliminal messaging.
Yeah.
How does the NCAA know that? Like, let's just say, I drink Gatorade. That's my brand. I'm drinking Gatorade.
As long as it's not a clear promotion. And I don't want that to come across. I don't want people to
think, well, now I can get away with it.
Yeah, I don't want that to be the case. But like,
Because
if I just randomly take a picture, and I'm wearing an Under Armour polo, right? If I just take a picture and post it on Instagram and I'm wearing an Under Armour polo, that's fine. Like, I'm not promoting it.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens if you keep wearing that over and over again? Does that raise a red flag, or does that mean this kid likes Under Armour?
It would raise a red flag to investigate it a little bit. And again, it's all going to come down to context.
Because you know how some people are. There's some people that are just
die
hard.
Or
like,
whatever.
I'm a die-hard Apple fan. I love Apple products.
Yeah.
And whenever I post a video, you might see me with my iPhone or with my computer.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of Apple products, even my AirPods. I just love that brand.
I think if it's incidental, no big deal, right? But it's a tough area. And my last year, this was the number one violation that we had, and we reiterated it to athletes non-stop. Like, hey, you can't use your social media account, your personal social media account that's connected to, your status and who you are as a person, to sell stuff. Like, we had a soccer player who started a very good business. She was reselling, and she still does it now, and she's done. But she was basically thrifting for clothes.
So she was flipping it.
Yeah, but she would also change them, create them. She knew how to sew. She was doing things. So she was creating her own clothing line, but she had the link to the website on her Instagram profile. She would take pictures with herself and other student athletes in the clothes, tagging the clothing website. Mm-hmm. And that right there is a violation.
I mean, there's another layer to this. Like, so let's just say she does, okay, I can't use my personal social media. I get it. So she starts an account for her new, her clothing brand. What happens if she's the owner and operator of that business, and she uses herself as the model? Because that's the only way you can do that. As a solo entrepreneur, you have to literally do everything you possibly can to get the brand out.
Yeah. So that's what she ended up doing. We had to set up with some caveats. So we had to set up her own Instagram page, which she already had it, but she had to remove anything from her personal that connected to that business. And then when it comes down to posting, so for her case, it was clothes, right? When it came down to making content for that website, she couldn't use like face up. Like it couldn't be, you couldn't know it was her wearing the clothes.
Now, what happens if she puts a picture of herself on her Instagram? She says, okay, I get it. And then she accidentally, like, you know how it is, like you're out at the beach having fun with your teammates and you're wearing your clothing brand.
Just can't tag it.
Mm-mm.
Well, you can't tag the business, or
Can't tag the business.
but
Now,
I can
she
still
could-
wear it.
She could wear it as long as it's not in the comments like, oh, I got this from such and such website. Or
But I could have the big brand name here, like
as long as
Betty's shirts.
as long as you're not blatantly promoting that item. Like if you just happen to be wearing it, sure.
A lot of gray area.
There's a ton.
So I can't say like, oh, I got this new shirt. from-
Exactly. And this is why compliance officers struggle so much with this. Like social media, there's so many rules around social media that, like we talked about with some of the other rules, they are nearly impossible to track and they are nearly impossible to enforce because there's just so many of them. You know, like there's just so many instances, like what crosses the line, what doesn't. Okay. Even if it does cross a line, how am I going to find out about it? Like I'm not going to spend 6 hours of my time scrolling through student athletes' social media feeds. Like I don't have that kind of time. Like we're busy people, you know, unless you have a staff of 60 compliance officers, it's just not possible. So that's what there's a lot of advocating on behalf of compliance officers to the NCAA. Like, listen, we need to figure something out. And this is a national debate because this gets into NIL, so name, image, likeness. And it's a hot topic. It's been a hot topic in college athletics, within just athletics for a long time. And within the past couple of years, really since EA Sports came out with, you know, the video games, and then they had to shut it down. Ever since that, it's been a hot topic nationally. There are several bills in the legislative process in the last 2 years that are addressing this. People are introducing bills to try to target this and to allow college athletes the same rights as any other person, right? Because if I'm just Joe Schmo on campus, it doesn't matter. I can have my own business and promote it all I want.
Mm-hmm.
It's my right of publicity, right, is what it's called for everybody else legally. But in the NCAA, it's name, image, likeness. And so
That's so interesting because with NCAA football and baseball, I know that baseball was a big game that everyone played. I played it. But if I'm a player and I see that my name's being, or it's not, they didn't use names, but it was literally like
you could tell it was you.
it was, yeah, you could tell it was you, and I wasn't getting paid for that.
Yep.
Or because Major League Baseball, if I remember correctly, MLB The Show, those video games, they pay the union, right? And then the union ends up divvying up that money to all the players
Correct. And
because it's copyright.
yeah, and so that's one of the it's in a bill right now that's in Congress. That's one of the ideas is, so there's a mix between name, image, likeness, NIL, and paying players outright, which is another conversation as well. What's the balance? And for the record, like I'm pro players should be able to use their own name and image to profit. But I also understand that there are a ton of nuances to that.
Well, it goes back. It's Pandora's box.
Yeah,
Like if and I've said it before, I'm for athletes getting paid, but I can see that other side and be like, that's a slippery slope.
It's a ginormous slippery slope because let's get back to if we allow student athletes to just, you know, profit off their social media, just like everybody else, how do you control what they are sponsoring? Because they're still representing your institution. So we'll say Trevor Lawrence. He's still representing Clemson. He's making money because he's a Clemson student athlete. So as an institution, do I get a say in who sponsors him or what he represents? Because what if he represents a company that has some shady dealings, or it's not really a
image appropriate.
Appropriate image? Yeah. I mean, the whole idea from the compliance side is, yeah, I can't track a lot of this stuff, and there's a lot of gray area. But then if you allow it, how am I going to track that? You know, again, I'm going back to I have to literally stalk social media pages. So it's like both sides are super hard to enforce, you know, and it's very hard to just open it up completely and just be like, yeah, do whatever you want, you know, because then you're going to have 95% of your student athlete body isn't going to be making any money from that. It's going to be 5, 6, 7 players who make really, really, really good money. But then the rest of your student athletes are like, what the hell? And that's not, but at the flip side it's like
says,
they've earned that.
I've made that university a ton of money.
Well, that's
100%.
true. That's very true.
I mean, the flip side, the flip side of that argument is, let's say I'm Trevor Lawrence, right?
Mm-hmm.
I look in the stands and I see 50,000 people wearing my jersey number.
Yep.
My jersey number. Not the third string lineman's jersey number, mine.
Yep.
I know that jersey retails at $60.
Yep.
That's a lot of money.
I know. And like at its face,
ESPN is talking about me all the time.
yeah. And that's the
Everybody's
thing.
talking about me.
It's like you've
Now
earned
they're
that
talking
right.
about Clemson.
well, think about like these
100,000 people are in the stands because of me.
Well, Justin Bieber ends up making more money than like when he was in his prime early years. Like he's still in his prime, but in his early years,
That's debatable.
I don't know. His album, like, people are gonna make fun of
We
me. I
won't
think
go
it's
into
pretty good. But even Taylor Swift's my age, and she was raking in all this money. And if I was a Mizzou football player, like if I was Chase Daniels, I'd be super pissed.
Yep.
Because I'm making this university a lot of money. Everyone knows who I am. Sam Bradford, same deal during that time frame. And we're competing for national championships. I'm as popular as Taylor Swift, and I'm not getting paid. I'm getting paid basically, I would call it minimum wage tuition.
Well, and it's the fact that you're not getting paid. You see everybody making money off you. Everybody is. Even, stores in the mall are selling your stuff, making money off of you, right?
In those like little, the top, like,
I mean, everybody's making rally houses are making money off you. You're not. And on top of that,
well, beer sales.
I can't even go get a
happen.
job because I'm in the weight room. I'm in practice. I'm in school. I'm doing everything 80 hours a week. I don't have time to even get a job.
Yep.
I think the term is called indentured servant. Yeah. That's been thrown around.
And it's just a difficult thing because, yes, on one hand, they have earned that right?
Yep.
They've put in the hours. They've put in the work. They have made themselves into a marketable product at that point. But on the flip side, to play devil's advocate, like we said, it's going to be 5 guys. And on a football team, you have 100. What kind of – you're getting into a team culture issue there.
For sure.
Because you're going to have a ton of resentment.
Well,
because on one hand, you get it. Like, okay, Trevor's our guy. But, like, he's making, as a college athlete, he could make $300,000. And I'm still only making whatever my scholarship is if I have a scholarship. So then you're getting into a culture issue where there's going to be a ton of clash potentially.
It seems like we're in the very beginnings of when, like, big money was coming into baseball, like Babe Ruth getting paid what he was getting paid, and then everyone else was just literally getting paid chump change. Like I could only imagine what the dynamics were on that team.
Right. So it's
like it's some.
Well, how do you
point-
make it equal? Because like I didn't deserve to get paid.
No, I mean I didn't either.
My 8 ERA in Division II baseball wasn't worthy of getting money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't think, in my opinion, and again this is speculation in my opinion, but like I don't ever see institutions having to pay athletes themselves. In my opinion, I don't see it being possible unless you're a Power 5.
They're talking about the stipend, though, right?
The stipend's possible, and then what I see happening are one of 2 options or both. One option is just allowing them to make money off of their own name, image, and likeness if possible. But again, we talked about all the issues that come along with that. And the other thing is, and this is something that's been introduced recently, it's like revenue sharing, or I forget the actual term, what it was. It was group licensing. So basically, the NCAA makes all this money off of TV contracts, off of the college football playoffs, off of March Madness. One thing they could do is, okay, the money that's made off of all those licensing deals, whether that be T-shirts, jerseys, TV deals, we're going to split that up, divide it amongst all our college athletes, and you get paid, everybody gets paid the exact same based on that. Like you're still getting paid.
But technically they'd already do that,
Is that,
right?
is that
To a
across
certain
all
extent
levels?
they do.
Because they share it with the universities. Like the SEC, I think they're getting close to $1 billion per year on Rev.
Is that across all levels? So D3 athletes make the same as a Division I athlete?
See, that's another thing. It's like, how do you... you would
the
think
SEC athlete makes the same as the OVC?
That might kill Division III.
Yeah.
That could kill it.
Well, and what's even happening now, because I heard the Pac-12 is talking about paying athletes sooner than anyone else. So does that mean so naturally you would think most athletes are going to go out to the Pac-12? I want to go get paid, right?
Well, if I'm getting recruited by Stanford versus Alabama,
there's a huge disparity there. Yeah. So
like education-wise, I win with Stanford. Yeah. Baseball-wise, I mean, it's comparable.
It goes back to the whole reason the NCAA is blocking is equality. They want to keep everything together.
Right, because if the Pac-12 decides to do that, they're going
to be their own
breaking
NCAA.
away, and they will only be limited to playing Pac-12 teams.
Yep.